Imagine a world where fear doesn't exist, where sadness is just a word, not a feeling, and where guilt is an alien concept. It sounds like the plot of a psychological thriller, but the reality is much closer to home. Statistically, 1 out of every 100 people you pass on the street is wired this way. Their brains are fundamentally different from yours. Today, we step into the shadows of criminal psychology, not to glorify the act, but to understand the biological phenomenon that separates a human from a predator, the conscience. Inside every human brain, there's a tiny, almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. Think of it as your emotional alarm system. When you see someone in pain, this alarm goes off. It triggers empathy. It makes you feel. However, MRI scans and neuroscientific research reveal a chilling consistency. In individuals with high-risk psychological profiles, the amygdala is either significantly smaller or remains dormant during emotional stimuli. In psychology, this is known as emotional blunting. For them, watching someone cry is as indifferent as watching rainfall. It's not a superpower. It's a biological glitch that erases the capacity for empathy. Are they born this way? Science suggests not always. This brings us to the warrior gene, MAOA gene theory. This genetic variation can predispose an individual to aggression, but only when triggered by a hostile environment. If that same individual is raised in a stable, nurturing home, they might become a high-performing CEO, a world-class surgeon, or a special forces operator. Why? Because they don't feel fear the way we do. They thrive under pressure. But if they find the wrong path, that same fearlessness turns into something far more dangerous. Their greatest weapon isn't violence, it's charm. Psychologists call this the Mask of Sanity. These individuals are often highly intelligent and incredibly articulate. They don't interact, they manipulate. You see it in white-collar crimes, people who dismantle entire systems without a flicker of hesitation. They don't feel emotions, they copy them. When they mimic sadness, they aren't hurting. They've simply calculated that appearing sad is the most beneficial move in that moment. Is there a cure for a missing conscience? Modern science is exploring neurofeedback and behavioral conditioning to train the brain's empathy centers. The goal isn't to fear these individuals, but to decode their psychology to protect our society. EDITH Mind is about awareness, not alarmism. Every brain error isn't a crime, but behind almost every crime, there's a processing error in the brain. In the end, biology might lay the tracks, but our character drives the train. Psychology teaches us that we aren't just biological machines. We have the power of conscious choice. Your conscience is your greatest gift. It is the compass that makes you human. Never lose sight of it. If you found this psychological deep dive insightful, subscribe to EDITH Mind. Intelligence grows when we look into the darkness with the light of science. Stay aware. Stay intelligent.